He knows they're hurting. I'm Pam Puso, Fox News. President Biden is reassuring storm victims in Louisiana and the Northeast that full federal aid will be provided.
President Biden spoke from St. John the Baptist Parish, which experienced some of the most significant damage in Louisiana. The president told them his administration is helping to restore power, deliver water, and get gas to gas stations.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. The White House is also putting pressure on insurance companies that may have previously denied claims. Destruction created by the remnants of Hurricane Ida is being assessed in the Northeast.
There is new shocking video that shows floodwaters that caused a wall to collapse in a New Jersey home, trapping a teen and his mother inside their basement. The floodwaters force was so strong it caused the wall to buckle, sending the water rushing through the basement. The teen and his mother were able to escape, and they are both okay.
Fox's Ashley Strohmeyer. Ida is being blamed for at least 63 deaths in the U.S. As Afghan refugees get flown to the U.S., there's a report that approximately 100 of them have been flagged for potential terror ties. According to NBC News, 2 of the refugees raised enough concern to be taken to Kosovo for additional review.
The federal government has established a robust screening and vetting architecture with the dual goals of protecting the homeland and providing protections for vulnerable Afghans.
Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. As much of the world waits for COVID-19 vaccines, the United Kingdom could be left hanging when it comes to flu vaccines. One of the largest suppliers of seasonal influenza vaccines is warning there could be delivery delays of up to 2 weeks because of a shortage of truck drivers. America's listening to Fox News.
Jason in the House, the Jason Chaffetz podcast. There is always someone doing something stupid somewhere. Dive deeper than the headlines and the party lines as I take on American life, politics, and entertainment. Join me, Jason Chaffetz, every Wednesday as I shed light on the news and make some predictions along the way. You never know who will drop in. Subscribe now on FoxNewsPodcast.com or wherever you download podcasts.
Connect to Fox News Audio on the Fox News app. Listen to hear your favorite hosts like Brian Kilmeade, Jimmy Fallon, and Guy Benson standing up for what's right, live and via podcast. Just click listen, then swipe right and hear the latest news updates on your time. And scroll down to hear the latest podcasts from Fox News. And it's even easier to listen in the car with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Get programming alerts and notifications. Fox News Audio is on the Fox News app. The voices America trusts. Download it now.
Good Saturday morning. Another sunny and dry morning is in store here in central Georgia. You can feel fall settling in this morning with temperatures in the 50s and 60s. Temperatures will quickly rise to the low 80s by lunchtime with mostly sunny skies. Highs today will reach the mid to upper 80s. For your full forecast, head to 13WMAZ.com. From the 13 WMAZ Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Taylor Stephenson.
The following program paid for by Rosenberg Financial Group. Providing live finance advice since 1993. It's time for Your Money with Steve Rosenberg, Sherri Goss, Randy Goss, and Becca Wilton. To participate in today's program, call 478-742-0940 with your financial questions and comments. And now, live from the Macon studios of News Talk 940 WMAC, it's Your Money.
Good morning, Middle Georgia. Randy and Sherri Goss are here to take your phone calls, 478-742-0940. Or if you don't want to hear yourself on the radio, you can text Randy, 478-954-2498.
Thank you. don't call because I've got to jump up and run out of the room to answer the phone.
So you can text. And you can text him all sorts of junk all weekend, just really mess up his phone.
Just don't do it at 2 in the morning. Of course, I might be awake. So.
Anywho, so we are with Rosenberg Financial Group. Becca Wilton will be back next week. She's been out of town for a little bit. And Steve is still in the process of retiring.
Yep.
So he will be moving out, and we are taking over his practice October 1.
That's right.
And so we're going through a bunch of stuff, but it's all good, and our clients are fine, and everybody's good, and we have a great staff, and we just thank Steve for everything he's done. Steve Rosenberg is the best thing after you, Randy. After you, he's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Because so we moved down here because Randy was in the military, he was in the Air Force, and he was working in a job at Georgia Tech Research Institute, and you were in the war on drugs pot of money.
Yep, counter narcotics.
Yes. So he was working there, and we had just bought a house in Peachtree City and had spent a pile of money fixing it up because we were going to be the house. I'm sorry, I'm veering off in a direction that you didn't prepare for.
That's not common at all.
We had a couple of teenagers, and so we wanted to be the house where everybody came.
Yep.
So we remodeled this tri-level home that had a huge family room, and we bought a pool table and a foosball table.
Had the basketball court outside.
Yeah, we had all the stuff, a golf cart. We were like going to be the hub of bring all your friends here because we want to know who you're hanging out with.
That's right.
That kind of thing. And so about 6 months after we finished doing a total remodel, Randy comes home and says, guess what? We don't have a war on drugs problem anymore because now we have a war on terror problem. And so my entire department is being eliminated, and I don't have a job in 6 months. And you were short of retirement years.
That's right.
So
and so I applied for an open position in the budget department down at Robins Air Base with the J-Stars.
Yep. And you got the job.
Got
and so Randy moved on down to Warner Robins and bought a little house.
We called it the Kevlar district. You felt like I had to wear Kevlar to go home.
Bought a little house in the hood and lived there 5 days out of the week and would come home on the weekends. And we did that for 2 years to make sure that this was a permanent gig, that we should really move the kids and everything, because by now they're in high school. So we moved a sophomore and a senior before those years of high school. We moved down to Warner Robins.
And I think our daughter's still mad at us for that one, because it was her senior year.
For moving from Peachtree City to Warner Robins was quite the adjustment, not being able to drive a golf cart to school. But anyways, that's how we ended up here. And so I had to go find a place to work, a financial advisory service, and I interviewed with the 3 top people in town, and they were all horrible, and they wanted me to sell stuff. It was all about selling stuff, like selling your soul to make a buck.
They weren't horrible. That's not what you were looking for.
Okay, that's probably a nicer way to say it. I had come out of insurance. I was in insurance sales for 10 years, and I wasn't going to do...
That's not what you wanted to get back into.
I did not want to get into cold calling all day long through a phone book. So I rented a space from a guy in Macon that I heard about through a friend in Atlanta. And she's like, he rents space to individual advisors. And so I hooked up with him. I rented a space from him to try to go out on my own, which was a disaster because I'm from Idaho and I'm not from here. And Steve Rosenberg happened to be there one day a week. And about 6 months into me being there, Steve came by one day and he said, if you know any female advisors looking to find a new home, I just lost mine and they need to come see me. And I said, we need to go have dinner now, like tonight, because I'm failing. I'm struggling. I'm going broke. I've got so Steve Rosenberg, as far as careers go, is the best thing that ever happened to me in my career life.
That is a true statement.
Yeah, I owe him a ton.
Best guy to work with.
Best guy ever. And so he's retiring, and so he's still there through the end of this month, but October 1 we'll be taking over the practice. And Randy's doing basically all of that work, and it's a lot of work, but I owe Steve a big time.
That's
so,
right.
Anyways, and his wife, Nancy, is just fabulous. So can't say enough good about him. Anyways, so I'm going to make one more plug.
Tell them who you are. Yeah, I don't think you...
I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Rosenberg
Financial Group,
okay.
Randy and Sherri Goss.
That's right.
Call you, 478-954.
I must have been reading over here. Sorry.
2498. Your cell phone. You can text Randy if you have questions. Anyway, so I'm doing a program on Tuesday next week from 3 to 5 at Watercrest Senior Living. If you want to attend and learn more about this place, I'm going to do a short talk on longevity risk and lifestyle planning for retirement. And then there will be some wine and cheese and a tour, and the people that run the place will talk about what it is. It's the nicest community ever to come to Middle Georgia. So if you want to sign up to attend, and they call this place the cruise ship that never leaves port, which when you get there and you see it, you'll understand why they call it that. You call Mandy Walker at 478-250-9154 to sign up, or you can check them out at watercrestseniorliving.com.
Great.
All right, take it away, Randy.
All right, let's do a market update. The markets closed out August and entered September on a high note despite some mixed action Friday that came in response to the disappointing jobs data. However, the Dow closed basically flat since we talked this time last week at 35,369. NASDAQ closed at 15,363, and the S&P at 45,35. And the VIX is still holding strong, Sherri, or weak, should we say, at 16.41. That's a fairly low number for the VIX. And helping carry the
which is the volatility index.
Yes. Helping carry the markets to record highs earlier this week was a defensive rotation out of cyclically oriented stocks into the mega cap, FANG, and Microsoft names that tend to do some of the heavy lifting for the major indexes. On Monday, the National Association of Realtors wrote that the pending home sales fell 1.8% in July. The reading missed the expectations for basically a 0.5% monthly advance.
It's got to slow down. The prices are out of control.
That's right. With July's reading, pending home sales are down 8.5% for year over year. On Wednesday, the ADP National Employment Report revealed a gain of 374,000 jobs in the private sector. Seasonally adjusted payrolls for August missing the expectations of 638,000
Well, go figure.
jobs.
We got a Delta variant and things are shutting down again.
And there's another one too. It's the MU.
And there's another one. It's begins with an L.
That's Larry the Hurricane. But anyway, most of
never ending.
Did you just snort?
I did.
Most of those job gains came from the leisure and the hospitality industry. And on Thursday, the U.S. Commerce Department reported that new orders for manufactured goods, both durable and non-durable, increased 0.4% in July to $508 billion, and that reading was better than expected. So
good luck getting those things on time.
Yep, and the thing that was really holding the markets back was the Labor Department's report Friday that added 235,000 jobs in August, which is a big miss. The expectation was for about 720. And on the commodity front, oil prices advanced for oil to $70, and that's because OPEC has agreed to keep the plans, the output to about 400,000 barrels per day. So $70 is actually a good number, and you don't like prices going up, and you don't like paying more for gas. But in order to have the fracking be profitable, they have to make at least $60 a barrel. So $70 a barrel means that frackers are very happy and they can rehire people and get people back to work. Because when the prices went down to $50 a barrel, they had to shut down operations. You couldn't function on $50 a barrel. That's right. But the wild card here is that what we are going to do in America as far as oil production, because you've got a lot of people in Congress now that want to just shut the oil fields down.
Oh, they're stupid.
And that could be the wild card that affects the.
How are you going to get to
prices
work?
At the pump.
Are you a bicycle?
I did see a guy on a bicycle this morning. He had a big boombox strapped to the front. I felt like I was back in the 80s. So.
Yeah, I'd really like to drive a bicycle from Macon to Warner Robins every day. That makes a lot of sense.
We can make
It'd
that
probably
happen.
take me like 2 hours to get to work.
What's 30 miles?
I would be very thin.
Yeah.
If I did that.
Thinner.
Yep.
You're pretty thin.
Anyway, so here's so I just randomly ran across this morning. Just so you know, we pay 18 cents for every gallon of gas that you buy. 18 cents goes to a federal tax, and 30 cents on average goes to a state tax. So almost 50 cents of a gallon of gas is taxes. And they're talking about increasing that and making it more expensive so that you will have to go buy an electric car. So you'll be motivated to go spend $60,000 on a Tesla. I don't think it's going to work. I just don't see a lot of people affording a $60,000 car or even a $50,000 electric car.
Oh, there'll be a government subsidy for that, I'm sure.
And a lot of people don't have garages, and so they can't put a charger in a garage because they don't have a garage. They'd have to go get a charger. There'd be a charger somewhere. The local, this whole thing is ridiculous.
Yep.
So, anyways.
It'll happen eventually, but I read an article this last week that there are companies out there, including Toyota, some of the big auto manufacturers that are working on a synthetic gas, basically, so you wouldn't have to use petrol.
I did read that.
Yeah, but the problem is that it's going to be extremely expensive, as any new technology is in the leading edge. But as it goes forward, maybe it'll be okay.
And I read that there are a number of car manufacturers looking at hydrogen fuel cells because it's more efficient, it's more climate friendly. It's even more climate friendly than electric.
And that's,
because electricity comes from where? Where does it come from? Magic.
Magic. That's right.
This is stupid. Anyways. All righty. So we wanted to kick off the show with a question for you. What do you want your retirement to be like?
Have you actually stopped and put some brain cells into this?
Yeah. What are you going to do?
Where are you going to live?
Are you going to work? Are you going to volunteer? Are you going to be near your kids? Are you going to be a babysitter full-time for your grandkids?
Do you want to move out of country and live in a foreign land? And if you thought
like
about
Guatemala,
or like Aruba, when we did a little tabletop exercise on this, just like the what ifs, and
Venezuela. There you go. It's probably really cheap.
Yeah, really cheap right now. But you can't buy a pet there; they're just extinct. But anyway, we did a little tabletop exercise, just Sherri and I, and we asked ourselves these questions, and then we got down to the end of our conversation, and we said, okay, now
I'll lose my mind if I retire.
Well, besides that, it's just assuming you did retire
and lost my mind,
and we moved off to say Aruba. That's where I said.
What would I do all day?
Well, we'd get up in the morning and
go for a walk.
Go for a walk, sit on the back porch, have a cup of coffee, watch the water, and then wonder what we're going to do the rest of the day. And then we said, well, we can move to the lake. It's like, well, what would we do there? Well, we'll get up in the morning, go for a walk, have a cup of coffee, watch the water,
sit and
wonder what
stare
we're
at
do all day long. So really, what you do
annoy the neighbors.
Yeah, well, that's a. Anyway, but what you do in retirement will make a big deal to your mental health.
Yes, and your physical health.
But the other thing, too, we went down this road a little further. We said, well, how are the medical systems, wherever it is we want to retire, if we were to move out of the country?
Don't go to Sweden.
Right. They put you on a clock. You get no more health care for you after X number or X age.
You're at the end of the line.
That's right.
Because you're expendable.
Anyway, if you have thought about this or you have ideas on, call us and tell us what your plans are. If you're planning on something like a move away from a certain area, how are you going to address the different issues of kids and health care and stuff like that? So anyway, give us a call.
So I have a couple clients that are living in motorhomes full time, and I can't imagine what that's like, but they're totally happy. It's a couple, and they have a little dog, and they stay at a campground. Every 30 days they move to a different place, and so they have the whole year planned out of where they're going to live in these campgrounds, and they have a truck that pulls this fifth wheel that is huge and beautiful, like flat screen TV, full kitchen, shower, the whole nine. I mean, they have like a house on wheels. That they stay at these places for a month, and there are websites you can go to plan that kind of retirement. There's entire communities online where you can go learn where to go, what to do. You can even sign up for volunteer work or what church you want to go to or what you want to do at each place.
And that's one of the things that we talked about as an option.
I can't do it.
At what point do you not want to be dealing with the maintenance on a big motorhome, towing a vehicle, unhooking it, setting it up, the whole 9 yards? So at some point, there's another transition in your life. So if you decide to do one thing, where are you going to go? So right now in America, you get to a certain point, you might end up in an assisted living facility. So
I have a lot of clients that have moved to apartments because they're sick of the maintenance of the house.
Yep.
So they sold their house and they're just renting, and they don't deal with maintenance. They call the maintenance man.
That's right.
And they still have to change their own light bulbs, but that's about it.
There's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah, and so I have one. She lives in a townhome with a carport on the first floor, no stairs. She planned it very well, and she's extremely happy. I have a couple other ones that have moved out of state to places that are more walkable, where there's more arts and music and things like that to do that are within walkable space of her townhome. And so everybody's different, and everybody wants different things. And I've got a lot of clients that really full-time help with the grandkids. And that's their whole mission in life pretty much, is the grandkid, they send the kid off to school, the kid comes to their house at the end of the day, they help them with their homework, and then they send them home once the parents get home, and that's what they do every day. And then I've got other people that are huge into gardening. huge into yards and gardening, and it's just interesting what everybody wants and likes to do. And then I have other people that are just super readers. They read tons of books, go to the library all the time, checking out books, and then I have other people that volunteer all over the place, and that's finally opening back up. So it is interesting and fun to see and hear what people want to do, but you need to do something. You cannot just do nothing. It's not healthy.
That's right.
Anyways, let me see here. Is there anything else I had on this page? I don't think so. So we don't know what we're going to do because I have no plans to retire anytime soon. I can't even get my head around it. I would lose my mind. I have to be busy.
That's right.
If I wasn't busy at work, I would drive you crazy. All righty. So,
by the way, the comms here sound much better today.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Neil.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. So there's a $3.5 trillion agenda, and here's what the deal is. So tax increases on corporations and capital gains find Democratic resistance. Is this the right article I'm supposed to start with?
Nope.
What's the one? I thought I was out of order. Didn't feel right. Here we go. So Joe Biden and congressional Democrats are pretending that one of the narrowest governing majorities in the nation's history gives them the mandate to pass unprecedented party line legislation to fundamentally transform the nation in a socialist direction. And this article is from Fox News for full disclosure. We have an article from each side of the table. Yep. Their pending budget reconciliation bill would dramatically expand the size and scope of government at the expense of small businesses and hardworking people. The legislation supposedly costs $3.5 trillion, but the nonpartisan Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget estimates the true expense is over $5 trillion, the largest expansion of government since the Great Society programs of the 60s. Even these figures don't fully account for the full fiscal, economic, and moral costs associated with the government dependency the bill would breed. So they're going to be debating the bill specifics over the next couple of weeks, but some of the worst provisions are already known. It would expand Medicare to younger Americans. I don't understand how you expand a program that is already broke. It's already broke. We have an aging society with more people going on Medicare every year. It's not sustainable. It's losing money, and we're going to add more people to it. I don't understand the concept of this at all. The math does not work.
Well, it doesn't work, and what they believe is that they can keep printing money. You have people up in Congress now that don't believe that having a gazillion-dollar budget deficit is a bad thing. They think they can just print money, and that's the people like AOC that believes that. She has come right out and said it.
I don't understand expanding
so they
Medicare.
Just keep throwing money at this thing, and it will be okay. But eventually,
it comes home to roost.
Come home to roost. Yep.
So Democrats also plan to increase already generous taxpayer subsidies for insurance companies who are already getting record profits in the tens of billions of dollars. The bill would also implement prescription drug price controls, which threatens access to existing medications. Now, here's the deal with the prescription drugs. You have a patent of 7 years on a drug. What they're doing now is I'm not sure about this sentence that I just read, because the truth of it is the drug companies, let's just take a drug like, what's insulin? Here's a good example.
Yep.
Insulin has been around forever, and it's still expensive. It makes no sense. And then you have a drug like Claritin, where you can go get a generic for like $1 a bottle now. But there are many drugs that are so popular because doctors prescribe the heck out of them, usually drugs for cholesterol. They go in and they screw around with
They adjust the patent.
They adjust the content of the drug slightly so they can apply for a new patent on a drug that is virtually the same darn thing and get a new patent on it and continue to charge the highest price they can. And if you look up cholesterol drugs, it will blow your mind how many of them are out there. Yep. Everybody's making a fortune off of them. The doctors are prescribing them to everybody. And there's a question as to whether they even do any good, where they're more harmful than good. I question it huge. So this thing of prescription drug price controls needs to be an end to the patent extension year over year over year, getting a new patent as an excuse to be able to charge the highest price. That's what's rotten. Go to Mexico. So we went to Mexico on a trip, and I got a sinus infection on the flight out there. It came on by the time I hit the ground, I was miserable. So we go to a Mexican drugstore. There's a pharmacist standing there. I tell him what's wrong, and I paid $4 for the prescription. $4.
That's right.
Didn't have to see a doctor. Just walk into the drugstore. That's what we need. But that's probably dangerous because we probably already take too many drugs, and then people would be taking even more drugs because they could walk in and just buy them cheap. I don't know what the solution is here other than to question everything.
But yeah, and you have to question. You have to write your senators and your congressmen when you see stupid stuff going on, because if they think you're just going to sit there and take it, they're going to do whatever they want to do.
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. So, okay, next, got Bernie Sanders and AOC. They want the Socialist Green New Deal, including costly new green energy mandates. The resulting significant increases in energy costs would hurt small businesses, of course. Will hurt everybody. I mean, they don't even know what they're talking about. These people are stupid. It would also
Go ahead.
It would also create a so-called civilian climate corps. Hey, there's a great job. A federal jobs program for green activists who would most likely become the modern-day equivalent of a Soviet Union. That's stupid. Yeah, that's a stupid sentence. But a civilian climate corps, are you serious? I
can just see them walking into some automotive shop and going, hey, you got oil on the ground. That's not going to go well for them.
The bill would make community college free, which it already is in the state of Georgia. You can do 17 career programs in the state of Georgia absolutely free right now. But we'd all be paying for other states, I guess, to get that. Generous paid leave would incentivize people to stay out of the workforce. Yeah, I read it was like a 6-month that you could voluntarily take leave of absence from your job because of stress and still get paid and force the employer to continue to pay you. I don't know how you do that. How do you make a company do that?
I don't see how you could, but I guess the government has the big hammer.
So right now, people that have children who qualify for the child tax credit are getting payments monthly of, I think the top of the line is $300 per kid up to 3 kids. I think that's how it works. They're already getting those payments now in advance of filing taxes next year. They want to make it permanent so that the tax credit is in advance every year, every month. So you would be getting $300 per kid every month on top of all of the other stuff that you're getting.
And basically what it is right now is what we're seeing. And I have to say, too, that we said this is from Fox, but every time there's a majority that can push stuff through, they do this. This is just what we're seeing. It's just over the top.
It's the worst ever.
What we're seeing is they're rewarding the people, the non-producers, and they're overly taxing. They're wanting to overly tax the job creators, and it's just going to result in more unemployment.
They want to double capital gains taxes, which is a disaster. I met with a couple yesterday, and they have a bunch of money they've invested in individual accounts that are non-retirement accounts, so the gains are all taxable. And I was telling them about this. I said, right now, married filing joint, the first $80,000 can be taken out of those accounts tax-free, but they want to eliminate that so that you pay tax. They want to raise taxes on everything. They plan to tax the children and grandchildren of entrepreneurs whether or not they sell their businesses. This is really insane. So we're in the process of buying Steve Rosenberg out of his business, and it's going to cost a lot of money. And we've got the projection and the paperwork and all that lined up. They want to tax you on how much your business value grows even if you aren't selling it.
That's right.
They want to somehow come in and audit you on the valuation. They tried to do this in Europe so many times, and it is a total fail because you have to hire a ton of auditors to go out and audit a business and see if it's worth more, so you pay taxes on a gain that you didn't even actualize.
You don't have. Yeah.
You don't get it. All you do is you pay. This doesn't make any sense. They want to raise this is how stupid this is. They want to raise the corporate tax rate by 1/3, which would hit about 1 million small businesses who file as corporations, which is me. I'm an S Corp. They want to reward their campaign donors in the Northeast and California by reinstating the full state and local tax deduction. That deduction allows wealthy taxpayers, especially, to write off their state tax liabilities, forcing the middle class to pick up the tab. I don't know.
Yep.
It's just depressing.
Well, moving on to some of the taxes that Biden wants to impose.
Which one are you on? This one?
But this is Biden wants to impose the largest tax increase since 1968. Biden's $3.5 trillion tax increase would be the largest in history. Democrats claim this tax incentive will fall on the rich. The proposal will raise taxes on small, but the increase will raise taxes on small businesses and working families. First is he wants to raise the federal corporate.
I don't think
tax
this
rate.
Article's from Bloomberg, so it's on the other side.
He wants to raise it to 28%. After accounting for state corporate taxes, Biden would give the U.S. a 32% corporate tax rate, significantly higher than the communist China percent of 25%. The tax rate will harm working families as a significant portion of this tax is borne by the workers in the form of lower wages and lost jobs. This is not a point of contention. In 2017, there was a report from the Tax Foundation that found that 70% of corporate taxes are borne by labor. Other economists argue that anywhere from 20 to 50% to even 100% of the tax hits the workers. It will also harm families by increasing the cost of household goods and services. This tax increase won't
because it trickles down.
That's right.
It doesn't just affect the top.
Well, the thing is, the business owners are going to
pass it on.
Well, they're going to have to pass it on, and if the consumers won't do it, they're going to hire less people, and they're not going to pay them a better wage.
Right. It's just how things work.
The tax increase won't just hit large businesses. 1 million C corporations are classified as small employers, defined by the Small Business Administration, which has fewer than 500 employees. A corporate tax rate will also threaten the life savings of families by reducing the value of publicly traded stocks in brokerage accounts or 401ks. Individual investors opened 10 million new brokerage accounts in 2020, and at least 53% of households own stock. So it's going to hit Joe Q Public. In addition, 80 million to 100 million people have a 401k, and 46 million households have an individual retirement account. It's interesting, though, that voters do not want the United States to have a higher corporate tax rate than China, but they are all about the U.S. having higher taxes, like in the 35% category, until they found out that China had a lower one than what we're proposing. And then when they learned that, they said ours should be 21. I mean, that was an interesting survey that they did.
Well, people always think that it's only the other guy that's going to pay for it.
That's right, and it's not. Number two, they're proposing a retroactive tax increase on capital gains.
Oh, this really is bad.
This is horrible. President Biden has proposed doubling the capital gains tax rate. Under Biden, the average top capital gains will be 48.8% after state taxes. Biden's proposed budget, it is assumed that the capital gains hike took effect in late April, not the day he passes it. So you're going to have to go back and adjust all your books and everything and pay taxes on the gains you had.
Here's the nightmare that I'm experiencing. So we finally sold my dad's last chunk of property as a family. It was a corporation between my dad and his brother as a farm, and the farm finally sold to a buyer. I think it closed about 2 weeks ago, and it was worth like $1.2 million. And so I don't know. I mean, we could get hung up in this mess.
You could.
Because of the capital gains, because they bought the farm, they bought this land for way less, 50 years ago? And now they've sold it? And now you want to tax it at a 50% rate or erase the
gain,
the step up in cost basis?
Yeah, eliminate that and then make you pay the taxes, which y'all thought y'all already paid. Anything that was outstanding.
Right, you're paying taxes every year when you own property,
right.
And now you want to go back and charge more.
Yep.
I mean, this is an extreme disaster.
Yep. The next thing was he wants to create a second death tax by repealing the step up in cost basis, which is basically.
Oh, this is really horrible. Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Ernst & Young noted in one of their reports that the repeal and step up in cost basis will increase the cost of capital and discourage new investments. This negative impact, or economic impact, will cost 80,000 jobs per year in the first 10 years and possibly increase to 100,000 jobs thereafter.
I don't even care about that. If you own something and you die and your kid inherits your house or your land, it gets a step up in cost basis dated its value, and you can turn around and you can sell it immediately and pay no tax on it, and they want to eliminate that.
Yep.
And the paperwork, the legwork it would take to figure out the valuation is not simple when you inherit a chunk of land. you can to go back and look at what somebody paid for it if it's not documented anywhere. Right. I don't even know how you come up with that. Who's going to figure that out?
Well, if you can't figure it out and tell them, then they're going to tell you, and then you're going to have to live with that number. So everyone needs to keep track of their own documents, and when something sells, take all the documentation you've got, put it in a big envelope, mark it for that piece of property, and store it.
Yeah, big. It's really important.
Yep.
But this cannot pass.
But
this
anyway,
cannot be.
They want to impose a 15% minimum tax on book income. Basically, the tax increase will create a new minimum tax on American businesses and disallow important credits, deductions, and help. It's just horrible.
And you missed the increase in the top income tax rate to 40%.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, this is just stupid.
Anyway.
The whole thing is rotten. We hate it. End of story.
Anyway. Sherri, we're at the halftime mark already.
We are.
Yeah.
I should get happy and talk about happy, pleasant things.
But we have a couple more on this. A couple more things to talk about.
We need to change subjects. I'm sick of this already.
Okay. Anyway, we are Rosenberg Finance Group. The ranting Randy and Sherri here this morning.
Offices in Warner Robins and Macon. And you can come in for a free consultation. I meet nice people every week that just want to talk through their retirement plans. We don't charge anything for it. It's absolutely free. And just call 478-922-8100 and come in and talk to me or Becca. And Becca also does financial plans, so you can go see her if you'd like a plan to project your retirement future. I just do scratching on a yellow notepad is my financial planning. I don't do all the computer stuff, but she does. And so if you want a more formal projection, she can do that for you. But either of us are available this week. We're closed on Monday, of course, but after that we'll be answering the phone and taking your calls and making appointments. But it's really fun meeting people who are getting ready to retire and laying out the projections. And I just...
And before we go on, I would say we were going to go over an article that was by Joe Manchin from Tennessee. And it just goes to show you when you read this article, and I do encourage you to go find it on the web today. It's titled, Why I Won't Support Spending Another $3.5 Trillion. And I encourage you to read it because it shows that even not all Democrats support what they're trying to do. Okay?
Right.
So it's worth the read. So, all right.
I've got a really great quote to give us a segue into some other topics. So guess who said these things? And I'll tell you at the end. He said, you cannot bring about prosperity by discouraging thrift. You cannot strengthen the weak by weakening the strong. You cannot help the wage earner by pulling down the wage payer. You cannot further the brotherhood of man by encouraging class hatred. You cannot help the poor by destroying the rich. You cannot keep out of trouble by spending more than you earn. You cannot build character and courage by taking away a man's initiative and independence. You cannot help men permanently by doing for them what they could and should do for themselves.
Very powerful words.
Right?
It sounds like it was written
a long time ago.
No, it sounds like it was written for today.
Right?
But the verbiage tells you it was written a long time ago.
Abraham Lincoln said those words. Awesome. Fantastic
Good job,
quote.
Abe.
And I will tell you, if you're frustrated with how things are going, I've got a really good fiction book for you to read, and it's called Atlas Shrugged. And it was written by Ayn Rand. She defected from the Soviet Union and came to America, I want to say in the 50s. I can't remember. I need to look that back up. Before that. Anyways, she came to America and she wrote a series of books to warn Americans about socialism and about not heading down the road of the Soviet Union because she escaped under Stalin. And there's also a really good book that she wrote, which is basically a fictionalized story of how she escaped and what her life was like under Stalin in the Soviet Union. It's called We the People, or I think it's We the Living. It's a must read. All of her, those are her two best books. Atlas Shrugged is like 1,000 pages, so just pace yourself. Call Gottwalds and see if they have a used copy because it's going to take you a while. You might not want to check it out of the library because it might take you more than 2 weeks to get through it.
It looks like she came here in 1926.
1926. But yeah, the We the Living and Atlas Shrugged. I've read Atlas Shrugged twice, and it's all about when the government thinks they're smarter than everybody else, and they start changing things and shifting things and taxing things and taking things away from people. And let me take your business and let me break it apart into a bunch of chunks because you make too much money. You're too successful. So let me tear you down and hand off your chunks of your business to other people that don't even know what they're doing. That is what is happening now. Is right now. Read the book.
All right.
Atlas Shrugged. All righty, let's change gears.
Go to your story. There's a story?
Huh?
There's a story.
What story?
The one you said you wanted to tell.
About the people I met yesterday?
Yes.
So I met the nicest couple, and they listen to the radio show, and they've done everything right. Both work on the base, military, and went through the hard stuff. And so, basic training is not easy. And what did I tell you that she attended?
OTS.
Officer Training School.
Right.
Is not easy. I mean, she was telling me that she would call her dad on when she could make a phone call, I think, which was one night a week. And she would cry because it was hard. And basic training is not easy, right?
Right.
Been there, done that. You have. I haven't. Both of our kids went through it. But sometimes what's really hard makes you stronger and better. And we were talking about this, and they've both done the hard deal, and they've both stuck through it and got through their careers to the point of retirement or almost retirement. And their kids have been with them this whole time, and so now their kids are stepping up and doing the hard stuff so they can be successful.
Studying in school.
Studying really hard, getting good grades, getting scholarships.
And one of the things that I believe I got out of you telling me about this is they had a vision of where they wanted to be.
Yes,
and
they were forward-thinking people.
Yes.
They weren't living in the moment going, "Oh, this doesn't feel good. I'm gonna quit my job because this doesn't feel good."
They didn't operate in a reactionary mode, which is what we see a lot.
Yeah, and so I think it's unique to military families. And when we were in the military, you have a certain mindset of they tell you when to show up and what to wear, and that's what you do. You don't have an option not to.
Right, but
so you have to.
They may tell you when to be there and what to wear, but when you boil it back down to the individual, it's still their choice to be there. So they saw that as a great career path for them, and the cool thing is when you see people in the military, you get the people who always drive a new car. Yeah, I get that, okay, because they have that standard income. But you got others, just like in the civilian sector, that have the vision on where they want to go. They see that they need to save for their retirement, in addition to, say, TSP or whatever, and they don't live extravagant.
Right.
And I was talking to a gentleman just the other day, my physical therapist actually, and he was talking about he wanted another truck or a new truck. His was like 15 years old, and it was like limping along, right? And he says he'll never buy a new car. And he and I agree that you just don't want to take that depreciation hit. So, I mean, you can still have nice things. You don't necessarily have to do it in a way that's going to cost you more money in the end. So there's this vision that you can have that helps you get to the results that you want. So, because if you're thinking about what is 5 years away, you're still thinking you're short-sighted when it comes to your life and your retirement years. Because if you just think 5 years away and spend money like that's all you're gonna have, and that's all you need to do is look 5 years ahead, you're not going to have what you need when you do get to retirement. And these people did all the right things.
They did every single thing right.
And we do see lots of other people that do this too. But it's so cool when you meet these people because they're not extravagant, they're not flamboyant, they're not arrogant with the money that they've saved up. I mean, it's just fantastic to meet them. So,
and especially with the kids, when the kids turn out right, and you've raised them right with some discipline and rules and regulations and expectations of them being independent and not being dependent. That is huge. It's the whole package of everything that they did was just so amazing. But I think I think the military does a lot for people as far as discipline. Our kids both went in, each served 6 years, and just basic training alone, I wish I'd gone through it. I talked about it, and I changed my mind, and it probably would have been the best thing I could have ever done if I could have even made it through it. But it's, I don't know, I just have a ton of respect for people in the military and for what they do every day, and they have to show up, and they have to do with their job. So, anyways, so I was thinking about our kids, and we were talking about this with this couple yesterday. So, with how we raised our kids is there were expectations of what they were supposed to do. There was accountability, and how we did that is every Sunday night we had a family meeting. And we started this when they were in middle school, of having an accountability meeting. And I could go online in Warner Robins and I could print out their record of the week, which told me if they were tardy, what grades they got, and whether they missed turning in any homework. Mm-hmm. And I would pound on them if any of those things happened. So Sunday night meeting was, okay, what's the meal plan for the week? What's the activity plan for the week? Who's got sports? Who's got this? Who's got club meetings? Who's got what's going on? What do you want to eat? I mean, we would plan the whole thing, and then at the very end would come out the grades. And they knew I was printing them out. I'd print them out every Friday afternoon. They knew this was coming. But still, our son, senior year, was on restriction for almost every week of his senior year because he would be tardy, he'd get a C, he'd lose homework, or some stupid thing.
Or show up late. I mean, there was all kinds of things.
I mean, every week. I'm like, what is wrong with you? You know this is coming. You know that we're doing this. And still you screwed up and did something stupid. And you're on restriction now for another week. He missed out on a ton of stuff senior year, and then he got caught racing another car. Oh my God. So we're at the golf pro shop and we learn about it from the golf pro. And he goes, yeah, I heard your son got in trouble for racing cars the other night. And I said, excuse me? He goes, yeah, he was over in that subdivision over there.
And it turned out it wasn't him behind the wheel.
Really?
That's right. Remember, I had an edict and I would have stuck to it. That if he got caught racing, I would crush his car.
Yeah, that's what we told him. There's a car crushing place on 247 where you can see cars that are crushed and they look like coffee tables.
Yeah.
And we told him, if you ever get caught doing that, we're going to crush your car and it's going to sit in your bedroom and you're going to look at it every day and realize how stupid you were. And you'll never do it again. I mean, we used to search their rooms. I mean, we were very invasive. We were extremely invasive parents because we wanted to make sure they weren't being stupid and doing some of the stupid stuff that we did and that we got away with because our parents were not invasive enough. Yeah. So, anyways, it worked out. So to have consequences, expectations, chores, all of that stuff. And don't be afraid to be tough on your kids, even though all of your neighbors are just giving them Porsches. Don't be afraid to be tough on them because you're the one that's going to live with the consequences of how they end up. All righty. That's a great question. So the couple that came in yesterday asked me a question, and I haven't been asked this question in a really long time, so I had to look it up. So they invested in Coverdell savings accounts for their children. And they have grown so well, and their children have done so well. The one child that's already launched and has a job has money left over in the account. And so the question was, if you have a Coverdell education account, and it's not really technically an IRA, they're calling that in this article, but that's not technically what this is. So it's a growth account which the earnings are never taxed as long as you use the money for qualified education expenses. If there's money in the fund when you reach 30, you must, and this is important, so if you know somebody or you have a Coverdell account for one of your kids and there's money sitting in it, you need to pay attention to this. If there's money in the fund when you reach 30, and this is your beneficiary, your child, it's because it becomes their money, they must either take the money out and pay taxes on the earnings or roll the account over to a relative within 30 days. You can initiate a rollover at any time. You don't have to wait until you're 30. Once you take money out of a Coverdell account, you have 60 days to deposit the money into a relative's Coverdell account without any tax penalties. As an alternative, you can roll the entire amount in the fund by simply changing the name on the account, which sounds a lot easier to me. You can initiate only one rollover every 12 months, so if you plan to distribute the funds to more than one relative, a little advanced planning may be needed. The list of relatives who can receive the Coverdell rollover is quite large. It includes your spouse. This is talking about the beneficiary. So the person who now is the owner of the Coverdell account, the student, their spouse, children, foster children, brother, sister, niece, nephew, aunt, uncle, or any of their spouses. First cousins and in-laws are also included. Even parents can roll the money over from their child's account to pay for their own school costs. So it's extremely liberal on what you can do with this money.
Very flexible.
And so this adult child who has the Coverdell money is getting married. So when he gets married in a few months, he can roll this money over into his wife's name, and then she can use it for her college expenses. And if she doesn't use all of it and they have a kid down the road, then they can turn and roll it over to the kid.
Yep.
I mean, this is amazing.
But, if you choose not to roll it over and you just want the cash, you're going to pay normal income taxes on this and an additional 10% penalty. And the bank where the money is sitting now, they'll send you a 1099-Q. You'll have to file that on your taxes at year end.
All righty. I like this article from Clark Howard. Do you have that one next?
I do.
Okay. So this is just funny. Back when I was at Consumer Credit Counseling Service in Atlanta, I was there for 10 years doing financial education, financial counseling. I managed a bunch of... Oh, we have a phone call. Yay! You're on with Sherri and Randy. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How you all doing this morning?
We are wonderful. How are you?
All right. This is Robin Jackson in Perry, Georgia. And just wanted to say, y'all are coming in mighty clear today.
Well,
good.
Yeah, ordinarily, I know your engineer there, and what is happening, I used to work in the radio station. I believe what was happening is that they do not lower the power and then raise the power. When there was certain times of the year that you have to lower the power and raise the power. And
okay.
Well,
what does that have to do with your money?
Right.
Well, we're glad we're coming in clear, though,
yes.
really. And Neil is taking notes as you talk.
Right. And then because, like I said, it's very important that, it's with your money because if we can't hear what you all are talking about, then we can't understand how to do with our money. And this is what it is to do with your money.
Very good. Good answer.
So we do with the engineer to have them to make sure that the power is raised during the daytime so that you all can come in clear to the people.
Very good.
Thank you.
I'm glad it's clear.
And one other thing that I would like to say that now this is with your money too is that there will be a different location for the people who want to do early vote in House and County. This is very important because they will not be going to the old courthouse in Perry anymore due to they have a new location at 2030 Kings Chapel Road here in Perry. So that if you want to early vote, do not go to the old courthouse downtown Perry.
Okay.
You will be going to a new location at 2030 King Chapel Road here in Perry, Georgia.
Very good.
Like I said, I'm not going to hold you any longer. I enjoy your program.
Thank you.
And do want to hear you clearly like how you're doing today.
Thanks.
And again, to remember to tell the people that you do not go to the old courthouse.
Well, enjoy your wonderful weekend, okay?
Yay.
The weather's going to be wonderful.
Sure, and happy Labor Day weekend to all of you.
You too, man.
Take care. Good. Very excellent. I'm glad we're clear today. So Clark Howard is he was on our board when I was at Consumer Credit Counseling Service, and it was always so funny because we had a lot of bankers on the board, and I had to attend the board meetings because I was vice president over counseling and all of that and doing seminars in Atlanta and stuff. And he would always show up in flip-flops and shorts and an untucked shirt because he could, because he didn't care, because they wanted him on the board because of his knowledge base. And so he just did what he wanted to and didn't. It was just funny. And I actually got to do his program live twice because when he was out and he knew me and I was doing seminars all over Atlanta, I was doing like 25 seminars a month everywhere and managing 109 people that were credit counselors. It was a a huge job. But anyway, so I have a lot of respect for Clark Howard. I mean, he came out of the travel industry, and he's become kind of a financial guru now, and he's kind of got this broad stroke thing. If you go to his website, you can learn a lot of good stuff. And back in the day in Atlanta, we're talking, this is, 35 years ago? Yeah. No, probably 30 years ago when I was there. But anyways, back in the day, he had 200 volunteers working for him that loved him, and they would answer the phones and do the research, and all the research went into a giant file cabinets. And so when he was live on the show and somebody would call in with a question, people would run and get the file folder and bring it to him so that he'd have to answer. Because you can't know all this stuff off the top of your head. Well, now it's all in the computer, and so he can do it that way. But I just have a ton of respect. But it's interesting that he's 75 years old. And so he says, from the lofty perch of old age and after a lifetime of thrift, I declare that I am qualified to comment on how not to waste money. And that is what he's all about. He always brags about buying all his clothes at Goodwill and stuff. We've all heard the reports. Most Americans live paycheck to paycheck. A large number can't come up with $400 for an emergency, and there's no money to save for retirement and other goals. Most of the data comes from surveys where people are, in effect, saying they don't have enough income. My curmudgeonly reaction? Stores, fitness centers, and entertainment venues are packed with shoppers, many of them buying unnecessary goods and services. Was there a call or something? No. If 3/4 of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, how can they afford to spend like this? What? Oh. Most Americans live like no other people on earth. We have more and bigger stuff, larger houses, bigger vehicles, more shoes. Speaking of that, you have a lot of shoes.
Don't judge me.
And in my not-so-humble opinion, we can't tell the difference between needs and wants, between necessities and desires, and we sure can't defer gratification. All this leads me to one conclusion. We're unable to control our spending or manage our money. Here are 16 things that this 75-year-old considers big money wasters. Tattoos. He's obsessed with them. He's like, why spend $200 an hour on tattoos? Vacations. He said your kids will survive if they never visit the Magic Kingdom. College. Picking a college involves many factors. Affordability is one that's often overlooked. Don't mortgage your future. 4, restaurants. Eating out or buying $4 designer coffee is stupid, according to Clark.
He says it's a luxury.
Yeah. 5, opportunities lost. We do it every day by failing to grab the employer match on our 401k plan and not investing in a tax-free Roth. 6, transportation. You don't need an SUV or a $40,000 plus pickup truck to get from point A to B. 7, credit cards. When people say they live paycheck to paycheck, that does not include purchase put on credit cards. 8, lottery. Lowest income groups spent the most on lottery tickets, wasting hundreds of dollars a year, about the same as that $400 emergency fund they don't have. Not to worry. 60% of millennials think winning the lottery is part of a wise retirement strategy. 9 is clothing. The average adult spends $161 a month on clothing. How is that possible?
I don't know.
He goes to Goodwill. That's insane. 10 is shoes. Average American woman owns 25 pairs. Not me.
Tennis shoes or just shoes?
Shoes.
Okay.
Stuff, tchotchkes, junk that you pick up when you travel. 12, failing to look ahead. Planning for retirement early in your career is essential. 13, no backup plan. I got to shut up here really quick. And let's see. 14 is holidays. It's a huge pet peeve of mine, too. His pet peeve is those inflatable characters on lawns that cost hundreds of dollars. Talk about blowing money.
Ours, too.
Yeah. Toys. U.S. parents spend $6,500 on toys, haircuts. So, anyways, close us out, Randy.
All right, you've been listening to Your Money with Randy and Sherri Goss with Rosenberg Financial Group, fee-based financial planners, as well as we have basically an investment program for all ages. So give us a call at 478-922-8100. Check us out on our website at retirerelax.com. And when you're on the website, sign up for our free digital feed that we'll send to you weekly, and it's got some good information in that. And we have a ton of special reports that you can get on our website. Look under the resources tab, and they're right there for you.
The Life book is free, too.
Yep. And have a great weekend.
The views expressed on the show should not be construed directly or indirectly as an offer to buy or sell any securities or services mentioned herein. Investing is subject to risk, including loss of principal invested. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. No strategy can assure a profit nor protect against loss. Please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should only be relied upon when coordinated with individual professional advice. Securities are offered through Royal Alliance Associates Incorporated, member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services are offered through Rosenberg Financial Group, a registered investor advisor not affiliated with Royal Alliance Associates Incorporated. Offices are located at 2517 Moody Road, Warner Robins, and 4875 Riverside Drive, Suite 201 in Macon. Phone numbers are 922-8100 and 741-4457.
Broadcasting from the Jeff Smith Ford Studios, this is WMAC Macon, a Cumulus station. This is News Talk 940 WMAC.